Hello students, today I am going to present a topic titled Operating Cycle Method under Working Capital Management. Working capital requirement can be estimated by any one of the three methods. They are components of working capital method, percentage of sales method and operating cycle method. Today, I'll concentrate on operating cycle method. Before computation or estimation, we should know the meaning of operating cycle. Operating cycle is a time involved in converting cash into raw material into work in progress into finished goods into debtors, and debtors into cash. See the diagram. Here, I start from the cash and cash converted it into raw material, then raw material converted it into work in progress converted it into finished goods, then finished goods converted it into cash. If you want one more step, we can go for the credit sale, then finished goods converted it into debtors, then debtors converted it into cash. With the help of this diagram, we can observe the four important components. They are raw material conversion period, work in progress conversion period, finished goods conversion period and book debt conversion period. How to calculate the working capital requirement under the operating cycle method? If you want to estimate the working capital requirement under the operating cycle method, we have to follow the three important steps. First, we should calculate the gross operating cycle and net operating cycle. And next, we have to calculate the number of net operating cycle in a year. And finally, we have to calculate the working capital requirement. So first, if you want to calculate gross operating cycle, we should apply the one important formula, that is gross operating cycle is equal to raw material conversion period plus work in progress conversion period plus finished goods conversion period plus book debt conversion period. Okay, fine. So now what's the meaning of gross operating cycle? Gross operating cycle means it is the period needed for buying the raw material, producing the goods, selling them and collecting the cash from the debtor. We can say that it is the total of raw material conversion period, work in progress conversion period, finished goods conversion period and book debt conversion period. Next, we have to calculate the net operating cycle. Then how to calculate the net operating cycle? When you are deducting the payment deferral period from the gross operating cycle, we can easily get the net operating cycle. Now, what do you mean by payment deferral period? If the firm is buying raw material from its supplier on credit, the payment need not be made immediately, means it is postponed to the future. So, it means what? The payment deferral period means it is a period between the date of purchase and date of payment. If the payment deferral period is deducted from the gross operating cycle, we get the net operating cycle. So, we finished the first step. Then go to the next step, that is number of net operating cycle in a year. So, what is the formula we have to apply? Now, if you want to calculate the number of net operating cycle in a year, so you have to apply this formula. Number of net operating cycle in a year is equal to 365 divided by net operating cycle. Then the third step is working capital requirement. So, working capital required is equal to cost of sales divided by number of net operating cycles in a year. With the help of this formula, we can solve one particular problem. First, I'll read out the problem number 1, then we will go for the solution. Structural Synthetics Limited informs you that 40 days, 30 days and 50 days are needed for raw material conversion period, work in progress conversion period and finished goods conversion period respectively. Further, 30 days are needed to realize the accounts receivable. However, the firm gets credit on purchases from suppliers for 60 days. Now, what we have to calculate? First, they are given calculate gross and net operating cycle. The second one, calculate the number of operating cycle in a year assuming 360 days for the year. Third one, if the cost of sale estimated is rupees 12,60,000, estimate the working capital requirement. See here we have to calculate the working capital requirement. Under which method? Operating cycle method. If you want to calculate the working capital requirement under the operating cycle method, first what we have to calculate? Gross operating and net operating cycle. What is the formula? First we have to calculate the gross operating cycle. So gross operating cycle is equal to raw material conversion period plus work in progress conversion period plus finished goods conversion period plus book debt conversion period. In this problem, they are given the raw material conversion period is 40 and work in progress conversion period is 30 and finished goods conversion period is 50 and book debt conversion period is 30. So we have to add all four, then you will get the gross operating cycle is equal to 150 days. Now easily you can calculate the net operating cycle. What is the formula? Gross operating cycle minus payment deferral period. They are given the payment deferral period. In this problem, see here, the firm gets credit on purchases from suppliers for 60 days. What is that? That is payment deferral period. Directly they are given in the problem. So, we can take that 60 days and deduct that 60 days from the gross operating cycle, that is 150. So, 150 minus 60 is equal to 90 days. Now, go to the second step. That is number of net operating cycle in a year. What is the formula? Number of days in a year divided by net operating cycle. Net operating cycle already we calculated, that is 90, and number of days in a year they are given in the problem, that is 360. Otherwise we have to take 365. So now I have considered here 360 divided by 90 is equal to 4. Finally, we can calculate the working capital requirement. What is the formula? Cost of sales divided by number of net operating cycle in a year. So cost of sales they are given in the problem, that is 12,60,000 and divided by the number of net operating cycle in a year, that is 4, already we calculated. So it is equal to rupees 3,15,000. That is the working capital requirement. Thank you.